Time to build something smarter than before. Not just points, it's aligned to clear. Better leads, better teams right here. It's Lead Score Monday, you know the vibe. Fixing what's broken, bringing it to life. Showdowns, labs, and quick fix flair. Casey's in the hot seat, see you there.
On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door. On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door.
Hey LinkedIn, I'm Casey and welcome to today's 15-minute countdown to better scoring session. Quick question. How many of you have a lead score in your system but feel like sales is ignoring it because marketing isn't proving its impact, or maybe ops doesn't trust it? This is something I hear all the time from teams, and something that I think can be solved in a couple ways. But one of the big reasons is without clear reporting showing the impact of your score and how it is bringing leads to your team. So today I'm going to give you one quick report and one communication fix that can help start changing that, and you can implement them immediately. This is actually a bit of a preview for my upcoming scoring mastermind session, which is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So this same time tomorrow, I'll be holding a 60-minute full hour session on how to build and incorporate scoring in your lead scoring build. And that session is free to join. All you need to do is DM me and I'll send you the invite, or you can sign up here at the thing that's scrolling across the screen at that website as well. But feel free also to just DM me. All right, so first up, we're going to jump over into HubSpot and take a look at building a report. And just a little background on what's going to be empowering this report is a workflow that I have built. This is a demo portal, so there's not a whole lot of data, but this is the type of workflow that you'd need to empower the report I'm going to show. And this report just segments leads into score temperature, hot, medium, and cold. If you're using a score, engagement. If you're using just one score, you can set the score distributions inside the score itself and look at low, medium, and high. This is the demo portal, of course. And you can do that in here under settings if you go to edit your score and scoring thresholds, and you can decide what a high, medium, and low score is. I have set this up through a workflow because I use a combination of scores when I build a scoring model. That just helps me more clearly see where people are scoring. But then I do need to create that like secondary score temperature and manually set that automatically, but like outside of the tool itself, I set that up separately. So just something to consider. If you are just using one score at this point, you could also just use these score labels as well. And then I'm going to go over to my reports. And I am going to create a report. I'm going to build a custom report. If you have not heard me talk about this ad nauseum yet, I love custom reports. I almost never use a single object report. That's all I'll say on that for the moment. And I'm going to create a report of my own. My primary data source is going to be contacts. In this instance, I don't need additional data sources, but if I wanted to reference accounts or opportunities, I might do that as well. Actually, I might keep opportunities on there. All right. And now for this first report, I'm going to build this just in a table for the moment. And I'm going to actually count contacts, count opportunities. And I'm going to do score temperature. And then I can add some things on here. Date became, or date entered, marketing qualified lead. And maybe I'll say is less than 90 days ago. Create date. And the create date for my opportunities, less than 30 days ago. And scoring temperature is known. Well, so right here in this report, I'd probably say scoring temperature is known. This is a dummy portal. But then this report itself would start counting the score temperatures, in this case, hot, medium, and cold. And it would show me the number of contacts who have become a marketing qualified lead in the last 90 days and the number of opportunities at those scoring temperatures. The value in this is just being able to demonstrate to sales teams, to ops teams, to leadership, how the scores are actually translating into MQLs and also opportunities. You could change this to sales qualified lead or whatever your handoff is, and that would be fine. And part of why we might want to do this is to internally and externally, and internally to your team versus externally to others, show the value of the scores and how they're working. This is also a good thing to look at when you are first building your scores, to get a sense of where the scores are being distributed across actual contacts and actual opportunities. And it gives you a signal if your scores are a little too loose or not loose enough. So it can give you a gauge as well from there. And instead of just showing numbers, you're showing outcomes by including this opportunities, which leads are actually converting, and which scores matter the most. Something to keep in mind, especially when we look at these timeframes, is what are your timeframes in your scores. So I do a lot of 7-day scores and even 30-day scores. So if I was only scoring someone based on their last 7 days, someone's going to fall back into a cold lead. So something to consider when you figure out what you want here. And there's some workarounds if that's something you want to do, and a report like this is valuable to you. Now let's talk a little bit about communicating your score in a way that actually gets your team to act. So when we are talking to the sales team, to the ops teams about these scores, and this is kind of after the score is in place, some things we want to keep in mind are what is changing. So when we add webinar attendance, we might be adding 10 points. Why does that matter? Why are we giving them 10 points? Well, maybe that's because webinar leads convert 3 times faster. So that matters a lot more than a blog visit or a ebook download. And then we also want to communicate how to use the scores. So sales should be prioritizing webinar leads this week because we just had a webinar and we saw a bunch of spikes in scores based on the attendance. We want to make sure we're keeping it simple, regular, and actionable, with a single snapshot per month or per campaign is often enough to show the team what's happening. And that's true when we first launch our new scoring, explaining to them what scores we're incorporating and why, but also early and often. So we also want to make sure that we are communicating any score changes or anything that's coming up. I have a client that's about to launch a end of summer sale. And so we are incorporating some things in their score to accommodate that end of summer sale, and prioritize leads coming in through that sale, because it's a limited window. As we make those changes and as we anticipate those leads coming in, we need to communicate to sales why they might see a spike in leads coming through. Also, we're communicating what they should do with those leads. So if they're filling out our summer sale form, then the follow-up should definitely incorporate the summer sale. This is going to be a combination of pre-change communication with the team, whether that's a meeting, whether that's an email, whatever your team's uses to communicate cross teams. But also in our lead notifications, we should be incorporating not just a number and what the score they got was, but what does that number mean? What actions were incorporated in that? Some of that may be solved if your team is familiar in HubSpot and able to navigate in HubSpot, but something definitely to consider. That's also a reason I like breaking my scores out into 3 distinct scores. I look at the contact fit, the company fit, so how likely the contact is to buy, how likely the company is to buy, and then I pull out my engagement. The reason I pull those out into separate scores is I'm able to see them separately, in addition to all together in one place. And I'm able to make changes and share with the sales team, hey, this lead came over because they are a great buyer. They fit our ICP, ideal customer profile, exactly. Even though they didn't raise their hand, they seem to be a really great buyer. And we've seen them on our product pages. So maybe we should be reaching out. But a lot of communication and making sure we can incorporate as much of that in any sales handoff documentation we are doing. For many teams, if you're working in HubSpot, that may just be communicating how to navigate the timeline on the contact record. So some things to think about. Which team in your organization most needs clear lead score reporting? Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it ops? Is it the executive team, or is it something else altogether? You might need to prioritize them and the types of questions that they're asking. But I always think ask why. So if someone says they don't trust the lead scores, ask why. Is it because they're seeing poor quality leads come through, or is it because they don't understand what is being scored on? And then we can solve for that. All right. So if you do just these 2 things, one outcome-based report and a team snapshot each month on the types of leads that are coming through and why they're getting scored in that way, you'll start building trust in your score immediately. Tomorrow is the full lead score mastermind session where we'll go deeper into dashboards, adoption strategies, and keeping your team aligned. Remember to DM me if you want an invite, or sign up at the website scrolling here. Thank you for spending a couple minutes with me today. Go try these fixes and watch your lead scores actually get used. Until next time, see you next Monday.
Live now, don't miss the score. Join the build something smarter than before. Not just points, it's aligned to clear. Better leads, better teams right here. It's Lead Score Monday, you know the vibe. Fixing what's broken, bringing it to life. Showdowns, labs, and quick fix flair. Casey's in the hot seat, see you there.
On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door. On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door.